not just that they're hold on. I'm gonna say something here.
Arise, chicken.
Hello and welcome to Mana Biscuit episode number which one is this? It's an episode. This is your weekly pop culture, geek culture, bacteria culture, counterculture, some kind of culture podcast. I am RJ Velosky. With me, as always, are my co-hosts Jacob Gamble, TJ Rathburn. Hello, fellas. All right.
How's it going?
All right. And so not a lot happened this week. You know, Comic-Con was a thing. It blew up. We didn't talk about everything from Comic-Con, and guess what? We're going to revisit Comic-Con. But we're in a bit of a lull right now. Video game scene is dead. Waiting for those big fall releases. Comic-Con just blew its business all over the country, and we're still recovering from that.
What?
And so let's get right into what we were just talking about rather passionately before we started recording here. And there is, in the large sense, this I guess you could say wave pattern of behavior, if you will, for people leaking footage from these conventions, right? So we talked about every trailer we talked about on the show last week was somebody's little cam job.
Like half of what we talked about were cam jobs.
I think the only one that had officially released was Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think by the time we got to it, they'd also released what was it? Batman Superman. But I think we only talked about 4 or 5 trailers, and at least 2 of them were official.
Right. But okay. So before the official ones were released, though, they were all cam jobs. Yes. Okay. And the ones that were released officially were in a response to cam jobs. And we also got a little bit of a passive-aggressive remark from Warner Brothers when they released Suicide Squad. And I mean, the fact that it looks like a terrible movie aside, their tone left perhaps a bit to be desired. I think it was a little bit childish. Does anybody have their exact response up?
I do not.
Okay.
However,
basically, you can summarize it as, well, we're going to release this. We weren't planning on releasing it yet, but because pirates can't be trusted with your cameras in our conventions, we have to release it now. And you have the exact response up?
Yes, I do.
All right, go ahead and read it.
Warner Brothers Pictures and our anti-piracy team have worked tirelessly over the last 48 hours to contain the Suicide Squad footage that was pirated from Hall H on Saturday. We have been unable to achieve this goal. Today we will release the same footage that has been illegally circulating the web in the form it was created and high quality with which it was intended to enjoy. We regret this decision, as it was in our intention to keep the footage as a unique experience for the Comic-Con crowd, but cannot continue to allow the film to be represented by the poor quality of pirated footage stolen from our presentation.
Okay. So So that's the response, and that's pretty much what I encapsulated there, more or less. Very, very passive aggressive towards the people that, well, I don't know, actually a little bit of, that's actually sometimes it's
pirated, stolen.
That's aggressive,
footage.
Aggressive, actually.
There's no.
All right, so Jay, I know you had a rather visceral response to this. I thought it was a little silly, and I kind of chuckled at it, but it pissed you off.
Oh, it pissed me off. It pissed me off because in combination we have 2 things from Warner Brothers, one right after another, where we've got the we've got the Arkham Knight release that was completely botched.
All right, yeah. But let's keep that out of this discussion. That's tangential at best. So
well, it was the start of the buildup for me. All right, don't release a product if it's not ready. And that was the start of the build-up, and then Suicide Squad just sealed the deal. calling everybody thieves and pirates and,
Okay, so definitely the tone. All right, TJ, our fortunate viewers did not see your visceral response to that. But I have a feeling you want to say something about what Jay said when don't release something before it's ready.
Okay, so here's the thing, and what we were discussing before we got started, and we got right into this episode because they wanted me to get this on camera. Now let me get this straight, and I'm going to try not to like straw man you guys, but your general argument was that if you release things to Comic-Con, that's not going to be the draw that gets everybody to Comic-Con. So, their threats are not going to. They're kind of empty threats. They're going to continue to go to Comic-Con because they need that promotional aspect of the business, and they're just going to keep going, and that we shouldn't be having things that are special for Comic-Con because that's not what's going to draw the people to Comic-Con, because they go to Comic-Con just because it's Comic-Con. Correct?
For sake of argument, I think that there are no necessarily important distinctions from your representation there, so I'll let you proceed with that.
Okay. Now, my perspective on this was that and this was backed up by something that Ryan Reynolds said about the Deadpool footage, because it was one of those things that didn't get put out officially after it got leaked on the internet. And it was because a lot of it wasn't entirely finished footage. We're not looking at a finished product here. These are sneak peek little things that you can get as a special little thing for being at Comic-Con, aired at an audience that understands this is not the finished product. This is not necessarily representative of exactly what you're going to see. This is just a little treat for you, and that's great. But the problem that comes when you start to air these things on the internet to the general public is how many people aren't aware of how that works, that this isn't going to be what it is. And they might not, but there is a chance where somebody might look at this and go, well, that movie doesn't look very good. The CGI is bad or whatever. Maybe it's not worth my going to see. And that is damaging to the brand. So one of the other examples that I brought up was that a handful of years ago, there was a rash of video games getting their code stolen and leaked. And people saying that it looked really bad. And it was unfinished code, and those games saw a drop in interest and a drop in the sales that they were projected to have, because people changed their mind about the product when they saw the unfinished product. It is something that happens. And what you distinctly just said was, don't release something if it's not finished because it will turn off the consumer, which is exactly the problem. These are unfinished things that are getting involuntarily released, and you're getting visceral responses to them because they don't look as good, or because they're not as optimized as they should be.
Not just that they're hold on. I'm going to say something here. All right, because it's not just that they aren't optimized. It's also they're upset because of the cam footage. But one thing that you did not address at all, and I thought you were going to because of your build-up, but one thing that you did not address at all is, if you aren't ready to show something to the general public, then don't show it at one of the most scrutinized media junkets in Western civilization.
Or maybe expect people to have enough respect.
Oh, come on.
Everybody...
Oh, come on. Really?
I mean, you're going to shame us for victim blaming these massive corporations? I mean, no, this is ridiculous. If you're not ready to show it to the general public, don't show it at Comic-Con. End of story.
The problem with that is that's exactly what's going to happen. And we already saw, it turned out, thank God, that Fox and Warner Brothers stepped up and really brought their A game to this. But, we're seeing what happens, Marvel didn't show up to this Comic-Con. What's going to happen to the general perspective of Comic-Con once nobody's going? Because Comic-Con is what it is today. God forbid
Comic-Con be about comic books again.
Right. But Comic-Con, and, I love comic conventions, and I think that they are perfectly fine on their own. But Comic-Con is what it is because of the general public. And the general public is going to stop caring if the big products that they want to see, their Marvel films, hopefully if Warner Brothers manages to do a decent enough job, people will be interested in seeing those, because I'm currently not. But like when AMC backs out, you're not going to get your Walking Dead trailers. When there's no more Game of Thrones stuff, like when people are like, fine, we're not going to back this anymore. That's going to be a huge loss to Comic-Con and to the industry.
To Comic-Con, yes. To the industry, I'm not necessarily convinced, because there is enough hype infrastructure out there that, you know, the people that will be hurt by Comic-Con, maybe Comic-Con becoming less important, are the mainstream media outlets that don't have anything better to talk about that week. I mean, really, other than Comic-Con. Yes, Comic-Con, the backers and the people that put on Comic-Con are obviously have a vested interest in making it as big as possible. For the community at large, having Comic-Con being just this for me has been my biggest problem with Comic-Con for a long time. I mean, it's good for us. We get a bunch of news at once, right? Okay, great. But is it really good for the idea of conventions as a whole? It's like, to me, the Comic-Con as an event has had as much in common with general geek culture as the Big Bang Theory for the last 10 years. And if it gets scaled back a little bit, if it has to go back to its roots a little bit because these big studios are no longer using it as their personal press junket, then okay. I mean, I don't see that as a big problem. Now, the guy from Wired that we were talking about before the show, and TJ, you know, you made the point, and I understand you see it as a problem, but for me, I would not shed a tear if Comic-Con got scaled back.
The problem with that is Comic-Con is huge because of it being a press junket, like you said. But the ripple effect of that fact is that a lot of things that wouldn't necessarily be able to get attention can. They can piggyback on the fact that there's this huge event going on where everybody is super psyched because of all the big things. And then there's all the little things, which at this point, sadly, kind of include comic books.
Yeah.
Like the focus on being able to get out there the information for books in the big three, and for smaller books, there are thousands and thousands of people out there promoting their work in what is honestly just a miraculous venue for people who wouldn't necessarily be able to get a fan base without it. If you dial it back, it's just gonna hurt the little guy much more than it hurts the big guy, because we're just gonna see the Marvel press day or the DC press day or whatever. They'll have their own thing, and like when Blizzard went to BlizzCon instead of E3, it can be a big thing for them, but then everybody else that was getting some small amount of the limelight because of that are losing out. And then what's going to be the ripple effect into smaller cons? Because I guarantee you that smaller cons are getting more attendance now, because people are like, well, I can't go to Comic-Con, but I can go to C2E2 or Motor City or any number of other smaller cons. When you start to have the general public's interest dialed back, you're going to lose that. We already discovered a long time ago with the market in comic books that geek niche culture alone can't necessarily sustain an industry. We need to be bringing in new blood. We can't let it languish on just the same old fans. We got to be bringing in new people all the time, or these forms of art.
All right, your point's well taken. I don't know as though they're going to die because I don't know that they're going to die because people are leaking footage. Okay, well, I hear your points. I hear the idea of people wanting to scale back, but I still just don't buy it, because I don't think that acknowledging the trickle down Reaganomics of geek culture that you just laid out there. I don't think that Comic-Con is really in danger of that because of some people camming some trailers. And the reason being is because it's not just Comic-Con in and of itself. Comic-Con is part of a larger zeitgeist where geek culture is culture. And that is where money is being made. That is where all of your key demographics are spending money. And I don't think that a few cam trailers are going to be part of that. And I think that it would behoove the studios to be more responsible with how they release their content in terms of having it being ready for prime time when it's being released to the most heavily, as I said, the most heavily scrutinized convention in Western civilization.
And in addition to that, if it did, either of you have the opportunity to watch the World of Warcraft leak?
Yeah.
I don't think I watched it, actually.
Okay. Then you heard right on there that these people did that this guy, the guy that was taping this,
was like, "Oh, this looks terrible.
This looks terrible. This is horrid. This is, and so to say that there's a quote unquote special breed of people that go to Comic-Con to see these trailers as opposed to they are the general public is a joke. These people are already saying this looks terrible.
If even the fans are saying this looks terrible, what do you think the general public who doesn't have any vested interest in that franchise are going to say?
Look, I get it. All right, you pour your livelihood as an industry executive or as a filmmaker or as any number of the other people attached to these projects, and some jackhole with an iPhone 6 is giving his running commentary on your trailer. That's going to piss you off. I get that. And frankly, if I was in their position, I'd be just as pissed off. And I don't mean to defend jackholes with iPhone 6s. They have a Samsung Galaxy, then they're fine. I'm just kidding. They're all jackholes. Yeah. Anyway. That's like, that's internet comment syndrome. These scumbags are going to comment on things all the time. And are industries really going to pull back because scumbags are commenting on things? They haven't yet.
What I'm wondering, and we've seen some precedent with this in one of the other big conventions, which we just talked about a couple of weeks ago, which was E3. Mm-hmm. When it comes down to it, what makes more money? The convention for the public or the press junket thing where the public isn't allowed, like E3 did like a decade ago, and made itself functionally irrelevant for a very long time, which is why this year I was like, who cares? It's E3. Nothing cool happens because it's not like it's just a press thing. But functionally, what if it comes down to it and enough big corporations are going to back out? At what point is the balance going to strike where they're like, well, we'd actually make more money if we just stopped doing Comic-Con as an event where
What happened, though? Because you're absolutely right. It was pressure from the industry to remove the general public from E3 because they got sick of jackholes with, well, at the time it was probably Samsung Razr.
Razors?
Yeah. But what happened, they got tired of these, these common schlubs, coming and commenting when they were really trying to present for the press, and it became a marketing thing. They pulled back. E3 became less relevant. But what happened? Did gaming go away? No, other conventions stepped up. Mm-hmm. You have Gamescom, which is, in spite of E3's spectacular showing this year, Gamescom is still the be-all and end-all of gaming conventions, which does allow the general public, which actually does have representation from Blizzard, who hasn't darkened E3's door in 20 years or something like that. And other things step up to fill the void.
Yeah, but that's provided that the people that make the product are willing to go anywhere. If they're going to bail on SDCC, they're not going to go somewhere else. They're just going to keep SDCC as a closed-off event because, honestly, I don't know that Marvel Studios and Warner Brothers and everybody are going to really feel the lack.
Well, Marvel's not going to feel the lack. And Marvel, virtually guarantee won't be back next year either. Marvel and Disney are gonna come up with something on their own. I mean, that's what they're gonna do because they can profit from it directly as opposed to indirectly, and that's going to be
Blizzard's done forever.
Yeah,
Right.
and exactly what Blizzard's already done. I think at the same time, I think Warner Brothers has no choice because DC Comics is still a failing franchise, and they still have to drum up that interest in public appeal. And honestly, you were going to argue that? Oh, okay. I was like, are you really going to argue that it's not a failing franchise? I think that they have no choice but to come back. I think Fox has no choice but to come back. Well,
I mean, they have to come back, but they don't have to let us come back.
Right.
What are they going to do? It's not a
honestly,
comic book convention without the people. What are they going to? They're going to close this off.
E3 didn't have to change its.
Well, E3 started Comic-Con started out as a fan convention. E3 started out as an industry convention, and it became more of a fan convention.
Completely different base.
But honestly speaking, like the amount of money that they're going to lose from not letting us in there, it wouldn't be that much of a loss compared to not having an event like this at all, because the majority of people aren't going to SDCC. They're seeing it on their computers, or they're seeing it on the news, or doing whatever. Like, everybody sees something or other that came out of SDCC at this point. Like, functionally everybody alive, at least in this nation, is going to see something or other that was represented at SDCC. We don't have to necessarily be there for it. Like, they don't have to market at us. They have to market at, like, the general public.
So San Diego Comic-Con attracts over 125,000 visitors per day. Let's see here. I'm trying.
So generously 500,000 people over the course of the weekend.
Generally, yeah.
Okay, so and what is that? A drop in the bucket compared to like the general populace that is going to just hear about this because it was on like E or whatever.
But that's it. You have to have a ready finished product. We're not guinea pigs in that point.
Well, I mean,
E's not going to carry anything that doesn't attract 500,000 people in a weekend, though.
Well, at this point, they don't have to. Like, SDCC is so established now, like it has so much cred that even if we as nerds went, oh no, they locked us out, the hell with that, we're done with them. Well, like, everybody else is going to see it on, like, Conan O'Brien, because...
Conan's not going if they lock people out. Because
Conan's not going. Yeah, he can't get an audience.
Who's going to sit in his
on site. He was a couple miles away at a different facility.
But let's bring this up. I finally found a number for 2013. 2013's San Diego Comic-Con brought to the city of San Diego $163 million over that weekend.
Okay.
Tell me that number's not enough to be. You're talking about people that
San Diego will care.
Yeah, the city of San Diego itself will care. The businesses outside will care.
Oh yeah, totally. And I mean, like the guy who sells churros down the way, the dude who has to mow the lawn for the facility. Like, there's hundreds and thousands of people that are benefiting indirectly from this con, but that doesn't matter to the movie studios that we're actively angering.
Right, but the movie studios that are being angered because they're doing it wrong. Okay, and they are not going to be angered to the point. They're not going to be angered to the point that they're just going to stop coming to conventions altogether. Maybe this convention, perhaps, I don't know. Conceivable.
Where else do they go?
Well, I don't know.
World is up and coming.
Like, Wizard World gets a lot of the people.
Yeah,
but not like the.
That's a good point. Where do they go? So if there's no other viable competitors, that's not to say that some couldn't necessarily arise. But if there's no other viable competitors, then it's all just a bunch of smoke from the studios. They're ticked off. Like I said earlier, I concede. I would be ticked off too if some jackhole with a iPhone 6 is recording my stuff and putting up crappy versions of it and making comments on it. But what choice do they really have? I mean, as I said, this is a zeitgeist. This is where the money is at. This is what the key demographics are spending their money on. They have to promote it. They don't have a choice.
Right, but like I said, that doesn't necessarily have to include the fans on site. And if they don't have the fans on site, then we're going to lose like Artists Alley. We're going to lose a huge amount of opportunity for smaller.
Well, I think
every larger con has an Artists Alley.
Yeah, but is it the same as going to SDCC?
No, I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Because I've never been to SDCC. I'd love to go. Well, I mean, kind of.
The people I knew that went 15 years ago don't go anymore, because it's not the same. But that's a whole other topic that we actually did touch on a little bit. And I think we're starting to spin our wheels a little bit here. I think some of us are making the same arguments over and over again. So we should probably move on to. I don't know what else do we want to talk about?
Well,
we brought up we blew our chance at a segue when we started talking about the Warcraft
movie.
Yeah, so you guys did watch the footage. Let's make the most
abrupt segue.
Yeah, you guys watched the Warcraft footage. I didn't see that. I did see the 3D video flying through the Griffin flying through Stormwind. I'm like,
I didn't see that.
Get me an Oculus Rift. I'm ready for that.
I actually, from what I understand, we saw, or at least I saw, one of a couple of videos that they released, or that they were showing privately, that one of which got released. The one I saw was very much Horde centric.
Yep. I saw the same.
But I guess there were three or four.
I heard that there's an alliance.
There's an alliance one. There's a Horde one, and then there's one that's kind of split between the two, I think. But most of the stuff that I saw was Horde centric.
Mine was completely Horde centric. The one that I saw,
I don't think I saw a single Alliance person.
No, it was straight up. This is the Horde going through the Dark Portal. Is what I got the opportunity to see, and that in and of itself was enough for. I drooled. I wished that I had the opportunity to actually be there at SDCC and see it on that big screen.
Right.
It would have been marvelous. And this guy's little running commentary straight up pissed me off. And it was so bad. I was so angry. I actually sat, like, the footage had to be put down in order for me to calm down for a moment, and then by the time I got back, it had gotten pulled from that site. And I was like, no, I don't know that I'll find it again. And frantic search, and I did get the opportunity to watch all of it. Loved every second of it. Still had the guy's little commentary there, which again I was like, but got to get through this, and I'm so glad that I did. But it's one of those movies that I'm genuinely looking forward to, and even an unfinished product in that particular case would have been enough for me as a fan to go scrambling looking for it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's what you saw was an unfinished product.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was okay. There were some things that I didn't particularly care for. The voice work was a little. It was like, hey, there's these 2 or 3 orcs that sound pretty much just like humans, and those are obviously like the nice orcs that we're gonna end up like following. They're gonna be protagon orcs.
Protagon orcs.
And then there's like the deep and grumbly orcs. Those ones are the bad guys.
Well, it was the division of the green skin versus the pink skin as well.
Right. Brown. They're brown, man. They're brown.
But there were some cool things. The bit where he did open the dark portal, where the chant was stupid.
But the sucking out of the soul,
like
thousands of
we
souls.
don't need corpses. We need souls. And they put like cages around the dark portal full of like prisoners that he cast a spell and it sucked the souls out of them and used the energy to open the portal, and that was cool. Except for his spell was functionally, if you ever watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force on Adult Swim, the "Arise, chicken, chicken arise," like that's pretty much what his spell was. It was like death, and then he hit his staff on the ground, and then life, hit his staff on the ground, death, staff, life, staff, for like 20 seconds.
Wow.
I'm like, come on, guys, do something cool. And then they did, which was like helpful for their cause. But overall, like it was interesting. I'm not a Horde though, and so I was looking forward to seeing Horde scum.
Yep.
For the Alliance.
That's right. Remember South Shore.
Yes.
So we bombed the hell out of it.
No, you monster!
Filthy.
I'm just gonna point out that even in the lore, it's lucky that you lot are alive. Like, Varian threatened at the end of the Siege of Orgrimmar that if you guys mess up anymore, we're gonna end you. And I don't know why World of Warcraft still continues, because there's like way more of us than of you, and we totally have better tech and better everything. We're just better all around. We're the best. We're the Alliance.
It's true.
We should have killed all of y'all.
It's true. There is no defense for the Horde.
No. I got into a really impassioned.
I'm not gonna have this argument right now.
I got to do a really impassioned argument once with somebody about acting like sort of RP in character about why the Forsaken are terrible.
And no side of the Horde had. I mean, the Horde doesn't even respect the Forsaken. They ultimately are they're. It's an alliance of necessity in that particular case because of the fact that
because there's like one of you to every 1,000 of us.
Exactly.
And not even in the fact that we generally are the more played faction. Like in the lore, there's lots of humans and dwarves and stuff, and not a lot of orcs and guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was interesting looking. I'm looking forward to actually seeing the film. Yeah, looks good.
So I'm waiting for an official release on this because I couldn't be asked to hunt down, try and find it before it was taken down. Play the whack-a-mole. But
I just stumbled into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that I actually wish I would have waited for an official release for was the Age of Apocalypse trailer.
Yeah.
That one.
Now with Ivan Ooze as Apocalypse. Like the Power Rangers are gonna come up and team up with the X-Men. And Jubilee's gonna be on the back of a sword.
And that's one of the things that I really want to. I actually, I should have brought this up, but I wish I would have remembered that I have it earlier. It was a top 10 reasons that Age of Apocalypse might be the best superhero movie ever. And one of their arguments was legitimate costumes, which if you look at the stills if you look at the stills out there as opposed to the crappy cam footage, you have Psylocke in Psylocke's costume. Jubilee looks like Jubilee.
Yeah,
I was like, that is
apparently
adorable and awesome.
Apparently, Psylocke's outfit was difficult to get into.
Yeah.
Speaking of Conan, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But it looks really, really good, and it's been a minute since Fox decided to go with an iconic villain for any of the X series. So you haven't had one since Magneto, really.
What?
I mean, Magneto's kind of been the villain more or less.
Well, you had Stryker. You had Stryker, who was not. They redid his character.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, Trask, Boulevard Trask, and the Sentinels are a pretty iconic.
Okay.
Because of the '90s cartoon series, more than anything, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in the Claremont run, he was a big deal. And then later, when Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely took over, the Trask family and Sentinels had a big part of the what was it then? All new X-Men or no?
So left field question for you, because we haven't had enough tangents this episode.
Oh,
The Cubs.
Yes, the
Cubbies.
The
Cubbies
Cubs
for life.
Well, it's better than the White Sox. But anyway, have you seen other than Tyrion Lannister? Have you seen anything that you enjoyed Peter Dinklage in?
Death at a Funeral original English version.
Okay, so pre Lord of the Rings stuff. Okay.
Answer is no, and I don't think I'm going to enjoy him in Pixels either coming up.
I don't think I'm going to watch Pixels.
He was the best. He was the best part of Knights of Badassdom.
That's
Badassery?
bad. No, it's Badassdom. Knights of Badassdom.
Is it Badassdom?
Yeah,
Okay.
that movie I didn't care for much overall.
It wasn't great, but he was the best part.
Yeah, he was okay, but it is something that comes to mind when I think, boy, other than Tyrion Lannister, I haven't seen much that he was. Well, yeah, I mean, no, he was funny in that.
He was really funny, especially in retrospect on Entourage.
Oh, I think I've watched maybe a grand total of 2 episodes of Entourage in my life. So
Yeah.
There's a part where they like really early on in the series they poke fun at Peter Dinklage, like Ari, the agent.
Oh, what's his name? Kevin.
No, that's you're thinking of Kevin Connolly. That's E. It's oh God, it starts with a J. What's his name? He was in PCU, for the love of God. Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven, yes.
Piven.
One of the most annoying people I've ever seen on screen.
I
What?
like Jeremy Piven, especially in PCU.
Yeah.
PCU's like the best movie of all time. But Jeremy Piven's character Ari, the agent dude, is talking about how he couldn't remember his name. He references him very offhandedly based off of him being a dwarf, and E is like his name's Peter Dinklage, and then later they run into him at a bar and he's kind of like snotty because Artie's a jerk, and then now, like 10 years later, Peter Dinklage is so much more like big and respected and awesome than anybody on that show.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
funny.
I do have an answer on this whole Peter Dinklage thing. He was in Ice Age Continental Drift as the monkey captain.
No, Ice Age movies aren't allowed either.
I enjoyed the first one. I don't think I watched the other ones.
I watched the second one, and I believe I've seen part of the third one, but I've never sat all the way through that one.
My Minions rant got victimized by some of our mutual friends.
I would imagine, because you don't poke the behemoth and expect not to get smacked. Minions look tiny and cute, but they are swinging the biggest you-know-whats in the industry right now.
Yep.
Like, some of our friends decided that they were going to make Minion memes because that's what in particular drives me crazy, not the Minions themselves. Although I didn't see the second Despicable Me, nor have I seen Minions. I did see the first Despicable Me, and I did not think it was as awesome as everybody else seemed to think it was.
Apparently, it's just the Minions thing.
But the thing that bothers me the most, which I think I lost in my rage, is like it's just the utterly trite, stupid stuff that gets posted on like Facebook and whatnot, just all over the internet, where it's like a picture of a minion, then it's like some quote
from
something where they like these people think
I haven't found any signs of intelligent life.
Yeah, I'm like, somebody thought that was clever. Somebody thought that was worthwhile. Somebody inflicted that on me. And so some of our friends found out about the hate because of the show and then started making more Minion memes and posting them on their Facebooks and tagging me in them. Not putting them on my wall where I could delete it. But
just tagging.
Putting it on their Facebook and tagging me in it.
I gotta look this up.
Like, there's one about ice cream because
Yeah,
We're eating
dude.
ice cream, and there's one that just says TJ, 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 TJ over and over and over again. I'm like, God, the hate.
Yes, and we now have an episode title in which TJ sucks it.
Oh man, that will get our viewership up because I know a bunch of people that use the hashtag #SuckItTJ.
Yeah. All right.
I'm looking for Minions pictures that you're tagged in, and yet not.
Well, anyway,
my goodness, you have, dude.
I'm glad we indulged ourselves in that rabbit trail, but yeah. So where were we with? Well, we were talking about some X-Men stuff, some World of Warcraft stuff, but do we have anything else really fancy we wanted to bring up about that?
No, not in particular.
All right. Well, the other big news that's pretty much only relevant to me out of the three of us, because this is a guy that I've followed for the last 6-7 years on GameSpot. Kevin Van Ord is leaving GameSpot. He's going to become a writer for Tryon Worlds, the MMO developer that did Rift, Arcade.
Is Rift still going?
Rift is still going, yeah. Like everything else that was the next WoW killer, it is now free to play and eking out an existence. But yeah, so he's moving on, and it's appropriate. He was always a big MMO guy. He wrote a lot about MMOs. He never really liked World of Warcraft that much, but he did like MMOs in general, so he's moving on to become a writer there. But it made me think, and I wanted to ask you guys, and I haven't even asked you in pre-show, so this is 100% on the spot. Are there any gaming writers or just writers in general that you have followed consistently, and whether or not you always agree with them, you're always glad to see what they have to say?
Yahtzee.
Okay.
From Zero
Punctuation, sure.
And his spin-off actual written column, Extra Punctuation. Yahtzee.
Okay.
Like
he's mostly on the Nerdist right now, right? As opposed to independent escapist. I'm sorry, yes. The other ist.
Yeah. Most of the people that I get my information from are videos, not articles these days.
Yeah. Understandable.
And even then, a lot of my video game interests in terms of the videos and things that I watch tend to be more.
Well, you follow a lot of Souls YouTubers, right?
Yeah, well, like I was going to say, either more focused, like VediVidia and a couple of other guys. Although VediVidia has a bit of a scandal going on right now, I'm not sure where I stand on him right now. But people who are focused on one particular game that I like a lot, or are more about gaming as a whole, as a medium. Another shout out to Extra Credits. Also, PBS Game Show and a couple of other places.
Jamin Warren on Game Show. He also runs the blog. We pulled a few stories from his blog, Killscreen Daily. But yeah, I like Jamin Warren a lot. I could get behind your list. I'm not as huge of a Yahtzee fan. I mean, he's entertaining, but
he's funny.
He's funny, but eventually the constant British cynicism just leaves it grates me a little bit. I can take him in small doses. I don't know. What about you, Jay? Anybody you follow in particular? No, he's I don't care.
Honestly, this disinterests me. The only thing I'm really like great individual podcasts, Escapist, Polygon. Those are the two that I pull most of my stuff from if I need a quick. If I need a quick.
Well, for me, it wasn't for Kevin Van Ord specifically. It wasn't just the writing. He was a big part of the first big GameSpot podcast, and then he ran another podcast after that one went up. And for better or worse, a lot of the Mana Biscuit format that I have come up with is pretty much right off of that. So, if you don't like the show, then you can blame Kevin Van Ord. That's fine.
But not us.
So there we go. It's always interesting too, I think, to see when a writer moves on to the industry. The other big example of that I can think of is Anthony Birch, who wrote for Destructoid for years. I was not as big a fan of his as I was of Kevin Van Ord. his best contribution to culture has been his sister. He does a series called Hey Ash, What You Playing?
Oh God, she's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's Anthony Birch and his sister Ashley.
And they
Ashley
both,
Birch.
he wrote or co-wrote Borderlands 2, which is why she was in it.
Yes.
And then they both worked on some of the other stuff for Borderlands. Yeah,
Yes.
okay, I can totally get behind that.
Yep. Yeah. And he started out writing for Destructoid for years and took the job with Gearbox, which he's since left to work on some Hulu show, I guess. But that I think he's working on with his sister as well. But yeah. But it's interesting to see, journalists move into the industry, I think, and it's not like with social media that they're gone. You can still follow them on Twitter and their writings in other areas. And all right, so that's about.
That's the show.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I mean there are a couple of other things. They aren't that big a deal. Whatever. We're gonna wrap it up.
What you got?
Just as a brief kind of footnote on it, the KOTOR 2 patch.
Oh,
just for like 20 seconds.
Right. Yeah, that deserves a shout out, right? Because it's 10 years old and it's finally getting patched. But also, you brought up this point earlier, TJ.
Like it was massively unfinished when it was released. More stuff about unfinished stuff at release. What?
Nice book ending of the show.
This one should be titled like in which unfinished. But the fan community really worked very hard in order to make sure the game was just playable. And seeing that effort brought up as an official thing, it's just great. Like it's a little small, I guess, kind of thing that's going on, but it's just nice to see that sort of stuff get recognized officially.
I guess I just see it as a 10 years later, well, we finally got around to it. Here you guys go.
But I mean, KOTOR 2 is a really good game, right?
Yeah,
so it's worth. Yeah,
it's not as good as the first one.
We actually talked about KOTOR 2 indirectly. I think we might have specifically mentioned it, but like way back in episode 2. And I still don't know which episode this is, so I'll figure it out before I post it. But way back in
episode question mark in which we unfinished.
Yeah. Right. But way back in episode 2, we were talking about Pillars of Eternity and Obsidian. KOTOR 2 is an example of how Obsidian, before I think Pillars of Eternity, has always done fantastic with other people's IP and has never really put out anything of their own. Yep. Yeah, so it's good to see that years later, KOTOR 2 is still enough on the radar, as it should be, to get that kind of attention. So yes, good call, TJ. We don't want to leave that one on the table, worthy of a shout out. But I think that's going to be our last shout out of the week because we are going to get out of here. So yeah, you know the drill by now.
We'll be all together next week. Let's bring that one up.
Well, yeah, we're gonna figure that out somehow. I'm gonna be in town. We're not gonna play another board game. Don't worry.
Don't be scared.
Yeah. Well, until we get it figured out more. That was when we did that. It was a little ad hoc, and we could have done a better job with that. But
so
we
you'll
didn't.
Get all three of us.
So I'm sorry if that bothered you. You can email Jay for a refund, and Jay will handle. Jay will refund you 100% of your ticket price for those episodes.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll move on.
You can also take it out of his hide if you like.
Ooh, yes, next week. Wait, what? Yeah. No.
Yes. No, but in all earnestness, yeah, that was ad hoc. We could have done a much better job with that, and if we ever do something like that again in the future, we will. But for now, we're going to wrap this one up, so I do want to thank you very much for watching. You can click that like button if you like. We would like you to click the like button, the thumbs up. You can also subscribe if you haven't already. 21 people as of right now have subscribed to our channel, so I believe that leaves about 7 billion minus 21 that can still subscribe. So if you find yourselves among that number, please do so. You can also like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/Mana Biscuit TV. You can follow us on Twitter at Mana Biscuit TV, and we still do some stuff on Twitch now and then at twitch.tv/Mana Biscuit. So
also SoundCloud and iTunes.
SoundCloud and iTunes,
Stitcher.
yeah, Stitcher,
and our Mana Biscuit on Reddit.
yes, all the things,
All of the things.
And
We
follow
are
us on
everywhere.
MySpace, Friendster,
Wait, what? We have
we
Photo
do
Bucket.
we do put out our weekly smoke signal. So
yes,
look for that.
that's right. Yes,
If you know
look for that
more,
in the sky.
If you go outside.
if you know Morse code, just keep an ear out for the dee 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 dee. What else are we using?
You can tell a friend.
Yes. There's the passenger pigeon. Wait, no, that's the one we killed all of.
Yeah, the carrier
pigeon. Carrier pigeons. Just send us a comment, roll it up, tie it to a pigeon. We're gonna get it.
It's true. It's true. You could also leave a comment on the YouTube video. That would be helpful.
That just seems so inconvenient.
It's true. When the pigeon is right there.
I know.
Yep.
Who doesn't have a pigeon?
Exactly. All right. So once more, everybody, thanks again for TJ Rathburn, for Jacob Gamble. I am RJ Velosky, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.